Hey, boom, boom. Here we got David Wilcox and Q and Space Alliance uh, connections. Wow. Here goes.
Everyone was loaded up on the same shuttle, traversed through a dugout hole which opened into a cavernous area. There were all sorts of huge, ancient machines that had tractor tracks on them. They were red in color and they literally looked like gigantic mining tractors on the moon. There were also long beams made of a gray crystalline material that was broken and shattered on the ground. Let's go back to camera. So this appears to be the mining equipment and the actual fabrication equipment from the ancient builder race used to build transparent aluminum, apparently from mining the regolith that was on the moon's surface. So it was so fascinating to hear that we might get to see this because Sigmund said that this was going to be shown to all of us in the future, that this will be part of the disclosure, that we get to see this 2 billion year old stuff on the moon.
So this disclosure involves Space Alliance and Q, and more of this is going to come out in just a moment here.
And obviously for Corey, getting to tour it in person, getting to see it in person is very, very amazing. Let's continue with the slide. Large circular tunnels headed out in multiple directions. All of this we did, again, last year on stage at Conscious Life. I told Gonzalez I had never seen anything like it. Sigmund looked over at me and said, "Corey, you have been here before, but you just don't remember." Apparently he was mind wiped. And Sigmund said, "One day in the not too far future, I will be standing here with a reporter from a major television network." And Corey was then taken on an amazing tour of additional sites, which he has apparently been taken on before, but he doesn't remember what it was. Oops, let's fix that one again. There, you guys are learning how to use Keynote at the same time that you're seeing me do this talk. We boarded an underground train and toured the giant ancient facilities for nearly 5 hours, and Corey's not allowed to talk about this, although I do remember him saying that it's the interior of the moon, some of the stuff inside the moon that he got to see. Very interesting. The ancient builder race apparently left crystalline domes, pyramids, obelisks, and underground cities all throughout our solar system. We said that. And we were then taken back to Lunar Operation Command, where we both boarded.
Now, all this is part of a disclosure system in process. And all this is going to verge together and come out together. You're going to see some Q talking about this coming out or possibly this coming out as things really verge here in 2019. Possibility. A real possibility exists. We'll see.
Separate dart craft and were flown back to our home destinations. Okay, so wow, that is a lot of information to take in. So you can imagine the total shock that I have. You know, we never made a video out of this. That's why I'm doing this now. These slides are obviously still great. I can still use them. We did this show back at the expo, but we never produced it and made a YouTube video out of it, so you might not have seen this before. In fact, really only the people in the audience actually got to see this, and it was maybe 600, I would guess. That's about how many can fit in the room. And then it gets to be too much. So it is so amazing for me to have Linda Moulton Howe bringing out witnesses who are saying they saw these ruins in Antarctica, saying that there are similar glyphs on the moon and on Mars, saying that we have a secret space program, that there is a floor in the NSA where they are actively engaged in trade with extraterrestrials, and, bonus, these guys are saying that they went to Oumuamua, that we landed on it, and that we got back inside. So just so there's no confusion, I'm going to take you back to the transcript that I just made from Linda Moulton Howe's appearance, so you can see how beautifully this fits together. It's so amazing. Check it out. So what we see here, yeah, so it's...
What is amazing is that we've got these different groups. David Wilcox, Corey Good, Linda Holton Mile, Miss Linda Gill, and several other informants, all coming together and verging at the same time or same points of interest that have worked with David and other people. That's what's so freaking amazing.
It's all down here. She's setting up Oumuamua here, and then Spartan 1, Spartan 2 say they have been told by a Cyber Command space official that Oumuamua was, quote, an old derelict ship from somewhere else in the universe. And then he says here, we did get confirmation that our buddies landed on Oumuamua months before anybody knew it was there. It's not a rock, it's an old derelict ship. At least that's what they told us. And we boarded it months before anybody ever talked about it. Are you saying you have first-hand information this was an old craft? Yes, ma'am. His first name is Ken. That's the guy that told him this, right? And he worked for NSA. And he was put in charge of this department on the 8th floor of the NSA building. Okay. So, let's go back to our final slide here. So we have some animation to cut back to when we need it. Look, guys, this is not staged. I only learned about this and talked to Linda yesterday, and then last night I watched the videos. That's why I was a half an hour late getting started, and I am truly sorry about that. I'm sorry that you guys had to sit around, sit on your hands waiting for me to get my crap together, but I have been working non-stop because I knew we had our slot for Saturday at 4 p.m., and this stuff is so amazing. What time are we at, by the way? How long have we been running?
2 hours, 4 minutes.
2 hours. Okay, so we're at the 2-hour point, which I didn't know it was going to take so long to get through this material. But, so let me just quickly go back through some of the other stuff that we were going to talk about, okay, and try to expand the scope on this a little bit more so that you don't get shafted if you came here thinking you were going to hear about Ascension.
Now I was going to talk about Q here in a moment, and you're going to see the Q connection with this, which is kind of amazing, really.
Let me just segue into that because there's some transitional material that I think is very important. First of all, the QAnon briefings are going way out of their way to make it obvious that this is coming from the presidential administration itself. They have done so many things where they tweet from the president and then they put something on Q at the same time, and they're trying to get the delta, meaning the difference between the posting time, down to like 0. But they can't quite do it, and they just talked about that in Q recently. In addition, they are showing you over and over again various forms of proof that this is really what's going on. Air Force One actually changed its call sign to Q0, and the 0 on the keypad of a telephone is also where the plus character is. Q plus apparently is the president himself, so when you see a post on Q that says Q plus, that's actually the president. Now there's another really interesting thing where Trump Hotels came out with a video advertising their hotels for Christmas, but then there's all these little Easter eggs inside the video showing the Q phenomenon in action, including the fact that one of the stockings has a Q on it. And I have that all getting ready for my article. And I'm sorry that it's taken me so long to get this article written. I'm still working on it. All that stuff is going to be in there. But one of the things that really amazed me, it was around September 19th that we got this post on the Q boards saying that there are secret space programs. And knowing that they've gone so far out of their way to tell us that this really is the alliance, that it really is coming from the current administration, whether you love them or hate them, okay? They do appear to be working to get disclosure. There do appear to be tribunals already underway. These are all some of the things that we're hearing now. It's very, very exciting stuff, what's going on. It's history in the making. This is the most historic time that we have ever been in. And so when QAnon said that Roswell was real, that there are secret space programs, that captures my attention. Now, another thing you may have noticed if you're a very astute Q observer is that they are very pro-NSA. Apparently, the alliance has gotten control of the NSA. And so one of the strange things that you see in Q that might not make sense to you is that they say Edward Snowden is a traitor. They're really anti-Snowden. And apparently, the deep state guys no longer have control of the levers for the NSA. So this is pretty wild because, wait a minute, now we got Linda Moulton Howe just recently, just yesterday basically, the day before, coming out with a live video right before this conference that she's going to be speaking at and is speaking at, saying that there's this 8th floor in the NSA where they're literally involved in managing the trade with multiple extraterrestrial groups, as in commerce.
Wow. So the 8th floor in the NSA building, they're working with non-terrestrial groups, trades, and other things. Incredible stuff was true. Incredible.
Commerce, as in technology exchange. Probably getting bodies like the ones that Emery Smith was working on in the autopsy room. The pieces fit together so well. And you also had this Orion space capsule literally planted on the White House lawn, looking like the proverbial UFO landing on the White House lawn. That amazes me. That was in my article from, I guess, October is when I wrote it up. Go back to divinecosmos.com, click on David's blog, and you'll see it come up there. It's still on the sidebar. It's had a massive number of views where I was talking about this particular secret space program disclosure from Q, which of course led to all kinds of flaming and hatred against me on the Q boards. So we have a number of insiders telling us that Q is the real deal, that it is the alliance, that the arrests are real, the tribunals are real. This is happening now. And there is a massive push from the mainstream media to try to discredit Q, as you see if you read the most recent stuff. And the best site that I go to is qanon.pub. That's QANON.pub. If you want to jump in and get involved in this and read this stuff, it's going to blow your mind. Another thing, if you haven't already seen it, I cannot possibly recommend highly enough, go watch Edge of Wonder. That is a YouTube channel with Ben and Rob, two great guys who are truly patriotic and they're fighting for humanity's future just like I am. I have done a series of interviews with them. There was a 3-part series the first time, and now we're on another series. It's like 5 or 6 parts. Those videos are getting incredible numbers of views. Some of them are up to like 1 million almost. And then you look at the fact that I had 6 million videos about me on YouTube, and then I pointed out to you guys, and then all of a sudden it goes down to 250,000? What the heck is going on? Somebody wanted that to be silenced. That's what I think, and I'm not blaming anybody in Google. I don't think they have any idea. It's probably something that they had no knowledge of, and it's just this very, very strange thing. I talked to the guy who runs my network. He does a lot of alternative media. He says he's never seen anything like this before. Because literally, how did a name like mine, that's not even really that public, become that big on YouTube? Well, it's because this story has legs. It's because this thing is very exciting. Everybody's talking about it. And the stuff that I have been telling you for so many years is coming true. And it is proving itself to be true time after time. So as these dark and evil individuals are being arrested, being put on trial, and being either incarcerated or receiving the death penalty, there are changes in the mass consciousness. And I've talked about this before in previous videos with you guys, how our mass consciousness, we can actually create a 72% reduction in crime, terrorism, and fatalities by simply doing a mass meditation. 7,000 people trained in meditation can bring that level down where 3 out of 4 people in the whole world who would pick up a gun and shoot someone decide not to do that.
I don't know about all this ascension and other things, but these things need to be looked at because you're getting cross references telling the same thing from different parties, different sources, and they're verging. This is what's powerful. They're verging, coming together. This is massive.
Unbelievable stuff, right? So if that kind of effect is there, then what happens when large numbers of the top villains start to get arrested and start to get tried, and the whole deep state apparatus is being disentangled? Well, we are right on the brink of some very amazing stuff. So I do want to convey to you a couple of the briefings that the Alliance has asked to get out there that did make it into Q. I didn't have time to put it in the slideshow. 3 days before Q made this announcement, I got the same thing. They are expecting that there could be a deep state false flag attack as big as 9/11 or bigger. So they are asking us, the Alliance is asking us to please have 2 weeks of water, food, and heat supplies for your house already available. And if you watch my most recent Edge of Wonder video, I go into a lot more detail on that. But basically all you have to do is get rice, millet, quinoa, grains like that, and then various types of beans, and you'll be fine. And get 5-gallon jugs of water, store them in your house unless you have good water purification. Make sure you have feminine hygiene products, make sure you have toilet paper, make sure you have wood or fuel to keep your house warm if you happen to lose electricity.
Now, isn't this interesting? 2 weeks supply of all these things, and they're coming out with this with the Alliance and with other groups. Pretty amazing stuff. Anyhow, this is Roger Martin from Village, Montana. We're going to end it here, but this is all verging, which is really incredible. Again, stay tuned for more information as we get it and these things work together. And that's it. Good day and good night.